What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Pizza Maker 8000, and today I'm starting a brand new thing on my channel, which is going to be called The Oven. It's going to basically be a podcast, and today, for my very first guest, I have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Broadway Pixels.
Hello.
What is up, man? I got a lot of questions to ask you.
And I'm here to answer them.
The first question being, where did you come up with the name Broadway Pixels? Is there anything significance to it, or did you just come up with it, or?
Oh boy, that it's just so many answers to that because I have had a lot of different ideas for a name. And coming up with Broadway Pixels was something where I really had to take some time and consider and write down sort of things. I'm just like, okay, what would be a good name where it's not taken, it's not overused, and just something that could just work. And I know I was into recording stuff and streaming stuff, and then I'm like, okay, well, I do developing sort of applications and working with different pixelations of stuff. So I'm like, oh wait, that just hit me, Broadway Pixels. So that's kind of just where to my head that one time when I'm just jotting down different things, and I'm just like, someday it'll come to me, and I'm like, well, that came to me.
Okay. It's a pretty cool name. Like I said, it's very unique. You don't have to ever worry about someone having, the same name.
No, just copycats, that's all.
Okay, so you're the head founder of TOONIVERSAL Studios, correct?
Correct.
What made you want to open up your own TOONTOWN server?
Well, see, ever since I was a kid, because I played Toontown since beta, and growing up, it was just kind of one of those child things where I'm just like, someday I want to have my own Toontown server, and it was just, of course, it's kind of just, one of those things where, oh yeah, I want my own server, and, I'm sure a lot of people do, but then I was kind of taking when TTR started, becoming a thing, and then, you had Toontown Infinite, Toontown House, and I'm like, okay, there is so many servers coming out there. It's my turn to try to, come around and try to bring something different to the actual community. And then, of course, Corporate Clash came out, which I'm not saying anything's bad with it. I play Corporate Clash. I definitely don't have as much time to play Toontown, but I definitely do play all servers. I try to support all servers. But yeah, that's kind of where that came from. It was just sort of really kind of just seeing TTR, and it's just like, okay, well, TTR, I mean, yeah, it's a bring back of Toontown, but it just takes so long to kind of just see something come out of there. And I know a lot of people don't want to go back to the same thing because you have Toontown Rewritten, you had Toontown Infinite, you had Toontown House, and it was all the same exact task line.
Exactly.
You start over.
Exactly.
So, that's kind of when Universal, we were, me and Sebastian over here, we were just kind of brainstorming, and we're like, look, we need to really make a thing. And this is when he had Toontown Stride. That's when that whole kind of server, he had concepts and everything for it. Just making a server where it wouldn't just be the same repetitive thing all over again. And of course, Universal has it has different task line, and I know some people kind of want us to still change away from the Toontown Online. And I mean, frankly, honest, I definitely can consider it. But another thing people have to realize is, you have Corporate Clash to do all of those different things. And Tooniversal, we want to be different. We don't want to be exactly like TTR. We don't want to be exactly like Corporate Clash. We're in the middle vibe of both of them, and that's kind of what makes us different from Tooniversal and from Corporate Clash.
Yeah, a lot of people say, TOONIVERSAL is kind of like a Toontown Written 2.0. Like, if Toontown Written would update and kind of stick to the same, original nostalgia, but still add content, that's what they say, TOONIVERSAL is.
Right, yeah. It's definitely something where, that's definitely our name, and even a lot of YouTubers mention that as well, and that's quite frankly what we are. And it's nothing saying that, TTR, hey, you got to step up your game. I mean, everyone has their different opinions, but it's definitely something where, just to prove a point, our updates, we try to update every couple days or so, and we try to have very consistent, hey, when the game goes down, let's get it right back up as soon as possible, have all our ducks in a row, and try to have the game up, and a lot of people are like, wow, TOONIVERSAL updates so fast, and it's like, well, you gotta have your preparation, you gotta have everything lined up, because if you don't, you're gonna be sitting there for a couple of hours trying to get that update done, and everybody's just gonna be like, oh well, I'm not gonna wait, I'm just gonna go on another game in the meantime.
And see, I really commend you guys' game for that. In a strong part. Of course, you got a TOONIVERSAL. I don't play it as much as I play Corporate Clash, but one thing, if I had to say one thing about the TOONIVERSAL staff and how the game is ran, it's ran 10 times better than any of these other servers. Just because I even see how well the mods engaged in the Discord were helping people, and how quickly you guys will be like, I'll see somebody say in the Discord like, hey, this is messed up, and then like that is fixed, and I'm like, damn, they're really at it. Like, they don't waste time, they don't bullshit. They kind of just fix shit. Many updates come constantly, and you guys are always fixing stuff. So I do commend you guys for that. I know there's definitely a lot of time and man hours put behind what goes on behind the scenes.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely something where it can definitely be a big job. It's because you have to figure, you have the moderation team making sure everybody's following the rules. Everyone's trying to, get along, submitting names, because we are almost at over 10,000 TOONIVERSAL accounts created, and that's definitely a big start.
Oh yeah, it's a big accomplishment for sure.
Right. And when we saw those numbers the other day, we're like, wow, because because we have like a whole sort of stats page, and it kind of just shows us how many people are making it a day, how many in general, how many total, how many inactive, how many active, and that's kind of another tool that we use to make sure that our staff is active, and the same thing with broadcasters. So that's definitely I know a lot of people are asking, you're like, how do you know when people are on the game and sort of all that, and it's just kind of we have all those tools to make sure that everybody's following the rules, everybody's trying to get along, and of course there is some things here and there that we can't get to right away, but you have to keep in mind you have so many people trying to submit names, so many people making tunes, and so many people chatting. We're only so much. We're human. We can't do 100 things at once as much as we would want to. But yeah, definitely we try to jump on things as quickly as possible, because it's definitely something we want to make sure everybody is having a safe time, because there is kids that play this. There's it's not just all adults, because a lot of people think TOONTOWN is mainly just regular adults, and that's definitely not the case. I mean, it was a kids game to begin with. So
really, I hear the opposite. I hear a lot of people saying that it's mainly kids, and everybody makes the argument that no, it's mainly adults. So you would have the stats numbers, seeing from your game specifically, seeing whoever signs up is this age when they make their account initially. But do you have majority of kids or a majority of adults playing, or is it a mix?
It's a mix. It's not something we're just like, oh yeah, the only thing we kind of just really consider is making sure everybody is over the, because if you're under 13, that's definitely something you really shouldn't even be on social media, but people are going to think about their age. People are going to lie about their age. Same thing with TOONIVERSAL. I mean, it's just you can't really get around that, unfortunately. And we're not going to just say, hey, you got to submit your ID to make sure you're verified. It's nothing like that. But it's definitely something where we're noticing, there's mixture, and maybe there is more adults than kids, but there's definitely kids on there, and you definitely want to make sure those kids are around positivity and appropriate behavior, because you don't want to because parents they're making they're having their kids play this, so they want to make sure their kid is playing a safe, friendly game. So because
initially it would ultimately fall on you guys, as the staff and shit.
It would be our responsibility if something would happen. Correct.
So somebody watching this video that has never played TOONIVERSAL, they played any other server, what would you say the most sets you apart from any of these other Toontown servers, if you had to say in your own words?
Hedgehogs. No, there's excuse me. I mean, we have, our thing is, oh my God, excuse me.
No, you're good.
So essentially, there is different things about, I guess, that kind of would make it different. we for a while we had different ideas. Of course, the new cogs, which I know Corporate Clash and ODS have their own, but we have kind of, I guess, the press spot line. So there's, I guess, newer cogs to kind of go by. There's newer different gags, which is a first time sort of thing because they have damage over time. So if you play Wizard 101 and you know how some of the like things like some of the fires and stuff like that, you know, it'd be damage over time. That's kind of what it's like with spin in TOONIVERSAL. You're getting that damage over time sort of scenario. And of course the damage is not 100% final. We're definitely listening to feedback. And I know that's something that I guess that some other servers sometimes struggle with. I won't kind of put names because I don't want to say, hey,
rightfully so. Yeah, rightfully so.
I definitely feel like, you know, feedback is really, really, really critical because if you're not listening to feedback, you know, you're not gonna have a strong community with you because
exactly.
You can't. Your players are trying to provide you feedback of what they want to be able to play the game. Of course, we can't listen to all the feedback because there's ridiculous feedbacks like, you know, adding certain like animals like maybe ants or something like that. It's just certain things that are maybe wouldn't work, but it's definitely cool to suggest those things. But certain things like maybe like, you know, upping a sort of damage or lowering a certain damage or changing a design that a lot of people aren't a fan of, things like that, that's definitely feedback that we can listen to and definitely help improve on. And that's definitely critical, I feel like, in any game. It's not just Toontown because, you know, you want to be listening to feedback and you want to make sure you're listening and actually doing what a lot of people would want. As long as, of course, it's definitely in standards, but that's definitely something I feel like a lot of not just Toontown, but a lot of games kind of lack is
in general
listening to feedback because that's where you're going to get your players from. Your players are
your own community.
Right. Correct.
So that's why I say like people gotta realize that, you know, if you don't listen to the players' feedback that are trying to help you improve the game, you know, you're only hurting your own players. Like when rappers get mad that like you know, fans aren't buying their albums and shit. It's like they're saying a reason they don't like this type of music. If you're not listening to it, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's kind of like being ignorant to it. You're not really like paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, you're putting the cart before the horse, sort of thing.
And speaking of whenever you was talking about rebuffing the gags and stuff, so that's another thing. You know, I heard about the feedback about the spin gag. I don't know if it's been implemented. I haven't logged on in a couple of days, but I heard that you guys were putting spin above lure. It would be above tune up if I remember correctly. That way, you know, you could use spin and then lure rather than having a lure, wait, and then spin, you know, or whatever the case may be.
Right. That's something we didn't make final decisions with, but it's definitely something we're taking into consideration. I know originally it was just designed right above right below sort of dropper or whatever, and that's just, you know, definitely something we just wanted to put on just for now until we develop the rest of the track. But I know a lot of people, like I said, you know, feedback, you want to listen to that, and definitely, yeah, there's people that are kind of just saying it should go above drop, and some people are saying it should go above lure, some people are saying it should go below tune-up, or, yeah, technically the same thing, but yeah, there's definitely all suggestions for, you know, where the track should go, and again, yeah, we definitely are considering, you know, moving the track into a more of a equivalent place, and yeah, that's definitely something we are considering. But of course, we want to try to focus on finishing the rest of the animations before doing that, because that's something it can be done, but we're definitely trying to do as much as we can here. But that's definitely something we are taking into consideration. Yes.
All right. How many developers do you guys have on the team?
I'd probably say about, because we have currently, we have Frizzy, we have Dizzier, we have Foreman, which kind of does a little bit of both. We have Alex, we have Muddies, we have Gustavo, which he recently kind of left because I guess, you know, he had a lot going on, but he did come back, and I know we're hiring some new people as well, so I'd probably say around 8 or 9, because artists. We have Ooh as well. So we definitely have a good chunk. Of course, we always can look for creative and development because those are key things to a game. And, you know, we're not going to really reject if you're going to definitely have the skills and you definitely want to help volunteer for TOONIVERSAL. You know, we're not going to really say, oh, yeah, you know, you just can't join. We definitely are, you know, here to try to help. And, you know, if you're even learning different sorts of coding, I know there's a lot of different ideas out there. Like, I think there's TOONTOWN Schoolhouse or something like that. But there's definitely some people that apply that are even a part of that. So it's definitely something where developers we can always use. But right now it's a good 8 or 9.
And is it easy finding new developers, or is it kind of hard, or?
Well, it's definitely a struggle because you have a lot of developers are going to probably know this because I do develop. It's just not to as much as what Toontown would be because you got to have different skills in like Panda 3D, Python, and just you know making sure that you check your code before you commit work. And it's definitely a challenge, but I think, you know, with the right mindset and just the right amount of learning, you know, I really think, you know, anybody can try to truly master it. I'm sure, you know, some people that we hire, I mean, everybody starts out with literally knowing nothing about any sort of talent. So
Yeah.
Whether that's creative, whether that's development, or whether that's even moderation, you always start out with literally no knowledge. So it's definitely something that can be taught. It's definitely something that, yeah, it can be a challenge for especially development, but I think with the right mindset, I think anybody could really, you know, create a really great concept.
Since we're talking about mods, I'm sure you knew this question was going to come up. Since we're talking about mods, we're talking about staff. The biggest rumor before I even knew about this game, you know, I would make videos. People were like, "Oh yeah, TOONIVERSAL pays their staff this and that." Are you gonna, you know, what do you say to? Because everybody, I don't know why the community thinks that you pay your staff. But like, what is your response to that? Because I've heard that so many times, and I always say, unless we see a pay stub that says, you know, made a new tune or something, unless we see a pay, you can't just go off rumors. So you know what I'm saying?
I mean, we pay our staff in jelly beans. Does that count? No. Essentially, yeah, I know that's definitely a rumor. Yeah, that's definitely something that's been asked a lot. I mean, there's even people that when they apply, they're like, "Hey, do you pay your staff?" And quite frankly, to summarize it up, a lot of people are, I mean, again, rumors, but I will say as far as right now, there's people like Dizier, there's people like Ty who work on actual physical, profitable projects at BROADWAYPIXELS. So they work at a game company for me. So, I mean, those things actually make me money. So as far as paying staff, I mean, pretty much any company is going to do that because why would you have a company that makes like profitable projects and you don't even pay your staff? So I know that whole rumor really came about because I'm a company. I develop all different sorts of things. I work on many different projects. And so when TOONIVERSAL came out, they're like, oh, BROADWAYPIXELS, they develop things and they do different things. And yes, we do have staff on TOONIVERSAL that will also work for BROADWAYPIXELS. So that is where the whole kind of like confusion comes in. I mean, yes, we do pay certain people to work on BROADWAYPIXELS that also work on TOONIVERSAL, but the whole like sort of thing behind it is they're also committing time away from BROADWAYPIXELS to work on TOONIVERSAL. So to kind of summarize it up, it's a yes and a no sort of situation, but anybody that just solely works on TOONIVERSAL and no other projects, they do not get paid because it's volunteer. But people that work from BROADWAYPIXELS and taking the time away from that to work on TOONIVERSAL, I mean, you know, once in a blue moon, I'm just like, okay, I'll combine this sort of like the paycheck sort of together. So it's a yes and no sort of situation, but it's sort of a more situation where they're coming from a profitable project. They're used to working either in a physical office or like kind of like remote, and it's just sort of a situation where they're used to that because they're working on things that like are pretty much they'll go to any company and they'll pay them. So that's sort of where that whole rumor was getting whole confused around, and people didn't look at it like, because that's why I even made BROADWAYPIXELS LLC staff in sorts of some of the roles so people know, hey, they also also work on like, you know, with my company. That's why they might be considered that. So that's kind of the whole scenario with that. It's mainly when you join just Universal, it's voluntary. There's no just a way around that. But of course, you know, a lot of people think that, oh yeah, you just pay these staff to just work for Universal, and they don't do anything else. They don't care, and it's just, you know, I'm not an idiot. So at the end of the day, it's just sort of where, yeah, rumors are rumors, but as far as like that whole scenario, there's people that work, but they're coming from a actual physical company that makes these things with us.
That makes complete sense. If they're working for your company and also working on, a side volunteer thing, yeah, that makes sense. But you're not the average Joe Schmo gets paid for working on TOONIVERSAL. That makes complete sense.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, none of the moderators actually do for TOONIVERSAL. None of the actual support team. None of the one teamer. The actual even Sebastian himself, he's not even getting paid. So it's more of just like a very, 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 very few, maybe like 2 or 3 that came from Broadway Pixels that are also putting time into TOONIVERSAL as well. And I just kind of combine their hourly sort of rate with their paychecks, because I'm not going to cut out like 10 hours of their pay time just because they're working on TOONIVERSAL instead of Pixels. That just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Another question. Yeah. So they said, is the new bowling minigame single or multiplayer? And if it is multiplayer, how many tunes can play at once?
That is a question where it's originally right now, the way it's presented is single player. Now that does, well, actually, it's a yes or no. But because originally when this was developed, it was single player. But we made it to a point where it has boarding groups where other people can play along. So long story short, will it be multiplayer? Yes. How many people? It's probably going to be just like the racing and the golfing 4. So I don't think we're going to have any more than that. But yes, it's going to be multiplayer. At first, it was a single player sort of thing, but then we just were like, okay, we're gonna make it into multiplayer, just like golfing and just like racing. So yes.
Another question: do you guys have plans for the single? Do you guys have plans for the higher level spin gag animations? And is there a date they are coming if they are?
Plans as, improving the higher level?
As you know how there's no animation. What is it? Through 4?
Oh yeah. No. So I don't want to say a whole bunch, but yes, there is going to be some definite changes. The reason why some of these animations aren't done yet is because they're definitely something where I think the biggest struggle in finding somebody is somebody that can just not only do modeling, but somebody that can do animations as well. And Foreman definitely fits that sort of scenario. And there is some animations that require code as well. And I know Foreman does kind of develop, but he only develops to a certain extent. So it's definitely something where, we're definitely finding enough time to where we can find somebody that can definitely do both. And luckily we do have somebody that can do that now, do both. But it's sort of a scenario where we're definitely changing some of those concepts around, because some of those gags that we have right now, it's just kind of a thing where we want to make it more sense. So we definitely have more concept. We definitely have more things being planned with spin. That's kind of why it's taking a little bit longer. No ETA, because I don't want to give something
rightfully so.
With that.
Yeah, rightfully so.
But I definitely feel that 100% it should be this year. Definitely something where I'm not going to say, oh yeah, this year, like what is it going to be, like December? Because again, I don't want to give an ETA just yet, but I definitely feel like it's something where we're getting pretty close. And I definitely hope, in the next couple months, maybe. But again, I don't want to give an exact ETA until like we physically know.
Speaking of ETAs, I hate to, ask these type of questions, but is there not an ETA precise for bowling, or is it like, this year, early next year, or, do you have any sort of foreseeable future?
Okay, so the thing with bowling is, I think the whole thing with bowling is pretty much the animations are pretty much done. The leaderboards are kind of something we're working on implementing. And as far as that, because the design on it is not the most best. So the design is something I think we're working on definitely more so before releasing. We don't want to put the cart before the horse within bowling. So it's something that we want to redesign the interior for at first. And I think once that gets done, we'll be pretty much close to just releasing it at that point. But a lot of it has pretty much just done. It's just we're just working on kind of the interior right now, redesigning the interior to make it more stand out. But that I'd probably say, again, I can't give an ETA, but I will say, hopefully by next month we'll definitely have a more ETA amount. But it's definitely we've come a long way on that, and that's definitely something we're close on as well.
I can't wait to try that, and I know, and this is something completely different. No other server can say they've ever added anything. All these servers add stuff that are, kind of gameplay gag, gag track wise. This is something completely different. Are there any other sports coming? And I guess some people consider bowling a sport. Is there going to be like basketball, soccer? Do you have any plans for that? Or you just have no idea as of now?
Funny you mention that. Last week we were talking about that. We definitely had plans for it. We definitely had plans for maybe even introducing, because I think there were some mini games about Toontown with like soccer and stuff. So there's definitely plans for it. Yes. Of course, we don't know when that would be, but we definitely had ideas for it. We definitely had plans for working on different mini games, because we definitely want to kind of just be different from that. Because I know, again, a lot of people have to understand, this is something that Toontown Online has never probably even considered. And if they did consider it, there was no sort of work towards that. I know Altus had ideas for it and whatnot. But again, we're not using those. We're creating something from the ground up. This is definitely something I think even more challenging than an actual COG HQ, because you have to really kind of just you got to have your physics in play. You got to have your coding. You got to have your different animations, and it's like they're creating a whole new concept, because again, with golfing and TTR and whatnot, it's the physics have been kind of just wonky and whatnot, and that's something we have to really work on with this, because Toontown wasn't designed to do things like this. So this is something where we have to completely
rework,
almost like you're creating a new game but in a mini area. So it's definitely something where yes, we have plans for it. It's just right now I think we're just kind of focusing on bowling.
Okay. Another question. I do my research. Before I wasn't just going to have you come up here without doing any research to get some questions. You have another Toontown server called Looney Tunes Online, correct?
Right. Yeah, Looney Town Online.
Looney Town. I'm sorry, Looney Town Online. What are your plans for that server? Is it active? Or I logged on it and I seen that you still had the Christmas tree up and stuff. Is that server kind of just like something that you test stuff out on, or what's the deal with that one?
See, the whole idea with Looney Town Online, that was essentially where we are going to use that for anything that we scrap in TOONIVERSAL. So the playground skipper, I know we had like penguin tune concepts, the old hedgehog sort of things, and just anything we pretty much scrap in TOONIVERSAL, or anything that we already have scrapped. That is where that whole main focus of Looney Town comes in, because I know a lot of servers will just scrap it and just never really show it to the public.
Yep, it just goes to waste.
Right. So what we do instead is, because it takes a lot of time to put stuff like that in, and yes, there is things that we have to just scrap, and it's just unfortunate, but you really have to consider, do we want to just keep it because people maybe don't like it, or maybe we want to improve on it, or maybe we want to replace it with something better. And I know that's definitely a discussion that we're talking about with chair cars, and that's something a lot of people are like, no, don't get rid of chair cars. But it's something where if we do get rid of them, we're going to replace them with something better. And if that would happen, we're going to probably put chair cars in Looney Town Online for people that missed that or wanted to know, hey, what ideas were originally in TOONIVERSAL? That's where Looney Town comes in. It's not a focused, dedicated private server like TOONIVERSAL. It's more of a server like you can go on, see. It's almost like a museum for Toontown. So that's sort of what that was designed for.
That's really cool. That's really cool, actually. That's smart too, because we always hear about Toontown written. oh, they scrapped this, they scrapped it. You hear all this stuff get scrapped, you're like, damn, we didn't even get to see nothing of it. And you put it in a game for you to try out for yourself. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, that's literally what Spotify kind of was as well. It was like a whole, so many scrap things from Toontown, and that's definitely something we might even consider someday implementing a lot of those things. And I know some servers already like offline or implementing some things that were in Pandora and whatnot, but that's definitely something we want to consider maybe down the road.
A lot of people.
Spotify, I guess.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
A lot of people have asked me this. Do you have plans to make a group tracker similar to the one that's in Rewritten and Corporate Clash in the future to help with boss runs, buildings, etc.?
Yes, we definitely had plans of it. We definitely, I know we even had community people come and reaching out to us saying, hey, I want to kind of create this, is it okay? So I think there is somebody already trying to create one. Because they were asking for what's our invasion API system and just kind of all like back end stuff that we can like that kind of just gives us like, hey, here's the current invasions going on, hey, here's the current tunes online, the status page extended. So I think there is somebody that is working on that. And that's kind of the same thing how the wiki page came in. That was something just community fan base that made. So I think technically there is somebody that's working on that. But see, another thing that for us we have to consider is because we have the kind of the groups thing on Discord, and I know a lot of people weren't a fan when Perfect Class sort of got rid of their groups page on Discord because a lot of people use that as like their daily driver because a lot of people use Discord and they just don't want to have to open up a whole browser just to find a group. And that's something, definitely, we definitely thought about, and I know there's community people that are kind of wanting to do that. So if that would happen, I mean, yeah, we can feature it, but if we do feature it, we're not going to close out the entire Discord groups because I feel like that's something that a lot of people, definitely like about it because a lot of people want to just like go to Discord for maybe the invasions going on. They want to go to groups. They want to see announcements. If the game's down and everything, they don't want to have to keep going to different websites and whatnot just to go to a group or find the invasion or, the extended.
See, I understand. So I see from two point of view. So I understand that point of view. When Clash originally took it out of their Discord, I was like, damn, I do not want to have to go onto a website in order to get a group. But then I thought about it because I was like, why not just have both? But then you think, they would contradict each other. What I'm putting online, I'm not going to see in Discord and vice versa. So it kind of, you run into that problem of keeping both. So it's like, it's like damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Discord has integrations where you can implement things from other websites. So example, release notes, how we used to have them is when you post a release note on the website, it goes automatically to Discord. So if we were to work on something like that and it wasn't just going to be fan base, or maybe even the fan base wants to, send those things over to us and we can kind of work on them, we could implement a thing where, the group tracker on the website syncs with the Discord. So if somebody creates a group on the actual website, it'll automatically put it on the groups in the Discord as well. And then when somebody creates a group on Discord, it can automatically create it on the website, if you get where I mean.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That would be cool. That would be cool. See, that would be a reason to be like, yeah, we can have both. You can have the best of both worlds with that.
Right, and they'll be both synced up with each other.
One question I've always wanted to ask is, I don't really, I don't know anybody that really high up that makes the games and stuff. Do you have to pay to keep a Toontown server open?
Yes. The whole thing is you have your website cost of like your domain for like TOONIVERSAL.com, and then you have your server cost for like the website. You have the server, the game server cost to hold the tunes and the databases and all that kind of good stuff. So there's definitely cost to run it. But as far as, other than that, I mean, it's really just, time. But yeah, there is cost to maintain a Toontown server, and I've worked with Toontown servers that could not keep up because of that. But luckily with this, I definitely don't ever see TOONIVERSAL going down because of server issue or server cost issue, because again, I've been paying for servers for the past 6 to 7 years now on some things, and I've never had an issue with it. So it's definitely something. Yes, it does cost to manage it, and it can cost more depending on how many more people play. But it's definitely something I have no plans of having issues with. But yeah, it does cost money to run a server.
So it's like you have to pay a website to have like the TOONIVERSAL game itself. You have to pay a website based on, is it broken down like if you have 200 players on this game, it's this much. If you have 500, this much. Not necessarily those breakdowns, but is it like increments of per 1,000 per 100 players, or is it just one standard fee? Or
well, I guess it depends on the specs of the server, because servers have different specs and different whatnot. So yeah, I mean, if you have you could technically run a server off your computer if you really want to, but you have to also consider, well, you're paying for internet, you're paying for electricity, so you still have a technical cost. But yeah, you can run servers as much as on your computer. I mean, I know the developers that work with us, they have local host sort of clients where they can run a server off their computer if they really wanted to. But I mean, again, we definitely have, like a whole server station where, people like manage in case a hard drive failure or something goes wrong or anything. It's just basically maintenance free for us. But I mean, again, it's just sort of a situation where, you're paying for making sure the website is up and running. And of course, yeah, the more traffic you get, eventually you're going to have to, consider upgrading your servers, because if you get like 5,000 sort of players on like TTR, if you don't have enough powerful servers, over time you're going to really kill that, because, servers have RAM, servers have bandwidth, and it's really similar to a computer, because when you really think about it, a server is just an overpowered sort of computer. So, you got to make sure you have enough RAM, you got to make sure you have enough bandwidth, you got to make sure you have enough just pretty much like space on it, which with TOONTOWN itself, I mean, you really figure it's a 2000 sort of 3 game, but the more stuff you add, the more you're adding to that database. Every person that creates an account, every person that creates a tune, every person that even uses Jelly Bean Nights, that's using RAM, that's using the space, that's using pretty much everything off that server. It's what we call resources. And those resources, each time you're using a feature, create a new tune, create a new account, even when people spam in actual TOONTOWN, I mean, that's something where a lot of people are always questioning, like, why do some servers don't like spamming? Well, because when you spam on a server, like, you're spamming the L key or spamming the space key, or when people used to do this spamming of the exclamation and the question mark.
Oh, I used to hate that shit.
that actually can cause server issues, because the more you spam that, the more you're flooding that server, and then those resources are going to eventually come to a point where if they don't have a strong enough server, they're not going to be able to handle it. So that's definitely something where I know that's why a lot of servers, including ours, don't like when people go on there and spam the living heck out of it, because you're literally using those resources up so quickly, and then it's going to make to the point where eventually you're going to make that server either just lag the heck out because the resources are going out, or to the point where it's going to stop because the resources, they're just out. They can't handle it, and before the server overloads, it's going to shut off.
But you don't have to keep a computer open 24/7, 365 though. Like you don't have to have that, right?
Oh no, because our old servers are dedicated over a physical server that's not even hosted around here. So yes, we don't have to. That server, yes, but that's just why servers, like virtual private servers and dedicated servers exist. They're on 24/7.
Okay, so I have a question. You don't have to give you don't have to answer this. If you want, I can cut this out, but you don't have to give an exact number, if you don't want to. But if you had to say how much it costs to run a TOONTOWN server, not even specifically yours, just any TOONTOWN server, if you had to say somebody wanted to open a server, how much would you say a month you'd say they would be paying? Like hundreds, thousands, 50, 60, so you don't have to give an exact number, but...
Well, it really depends how many people you want on the server, because if you want like maybe 25 people and you don't really care about a website, well, you can run a server off your computer if you really want to. If you definitely want a virtual private server, it always depends on the server hosting, because again, there's OVH, there's DigitalOcean, there's so many different server providers out there, and each one has different pricing, and it depends on the specs. But I'd probably say, you could definitely get something up and running if you wanted a complete like website. If you want a complete game server, pretty much all you need is, if you're looking on the basic end, it could be like 25 to 50 a month. It really does depend. What I currently pay for TOONIVERSAL for the 3 game servers, for the website, and for all the other stuff that we host, it's probably around like 250 to 300 a month. I know it's definitely the specs on it are a little bit higher than what usual, but the only reason I pay for more is because things like this, because right now we're at like 250 some players and we might be getting more, and I want to make sure that if we do get more, we're able to handle it. And of course, again, that's not saying that we can't, because there can be some times where you have so many players, and again, the whole spamming sort of incident, and it can flood the servers. It can. But if that were to happen, you can always upgrade servers. When you want to downgrade servers, that's when you have those issues of where you're going to have to start, really backing up things, rolling back things. And it's always easy to upgrade a server. It's not just so easy to downgrade a server. So again, it's definitely a cost of like where, how many players do you want? Do you want your servers to be stable? Do you want your servers to be laggy? Do you want your it's just
you pay for what you get, correct?
Thing.
You pay for what you get for?
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Pretty much.
Because I always wondered that. I'm like, all these private servers, I'm like, do they, because me and my friend Boone, we were talking, like, do they have to pay anybody? I'm like, and he's like, well, who would they pay? And I'm like, yeah, you're fucking right. Who the hell would they pay?
Basically companies that have probably hundreds, if not thousands, of just maybe sometimes even tens of thousands of just all these like servers in just one room dedicated up to the internet. And this is pretty much all they do. They just, you ever heard of like Wix and Weebly and stuff like that? Those sort of like free website builders. They're essentially, it's kind of all the same company. You just have a big entire server rack room, and you just have all the sort of the stuff on it. I mean, I know I have one, but I definitely don't. It's a lot of maintenance, it's a lot of time, and it's a lot more work than just hiring somebody that can just host it, and you're pretty much paying around the same price, and if anything goes wrong, they take care of physical hardware, and it's definitely a lot of maintenance, and definitely, it's a cost to, basically maintenance that, and it's just, making sure, that everything's in order.
Okay. I got one final question for you, unless you have anything else after this. But one final question is, what are your opinions on the Toontown community? Now, you don't have to, I'm not asking you to badmouth nobody. I just want, to hear your opinion on the Toontown community as a whole.
I've worked with a lot of communities. I've worked with Minecraft. I've worked with Roblox. I've worked with Fortnite. I've been so many parts of different things, moderating sort of different servers, and right now I'm in a Roblox community Discord that has over 300,000, if not more, and I get probably around 25 to 50 an hour of just asking, can I have some free Robux? Or can you unban me? And it's just so many of just the repetitive things. I've been around a lot of communities. Toontown, it's sort of a hit or miss. Growing up, Toontown community wasn't, I guess, as bad, but I think as time is really set, it definitely gets to the point where, definitely a lot of people take Toontown as almost like their personal life. And I don't want to go into too detailed naming people, but I've had a few friends from the Toontown community that got swatted. I've had so many different stories of just so many different things in this Toontown.
What do you mean got swatted? What do you mean?
Well, it's to the point where, people like, stock sort of things, they've swatted different things. There's been definitely a lot of like cases in the whole Toontown community. So it definitely has its, horrible sort of like sides. But Toontown community also has its good sides. And I think that's with every community, but it's definitely, Toontown community has been definitely a lot stressful than a lot of the communities I've worked with. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't want to say, oh yeah, Toontown community was the best community I've ever worked with, because I'd be lying. I really could not say that it's definitely the strongest community I've ever worked with. But definitely, I definitely feel like it definitely has a lot of good sides. But there has been some sides where, it's been really tragic on a lot of people, and to the point where it physically forces people to get out of that community. And I've had a lot of friends that leave that community for that reason. And it's unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. But there's definitely good in the community, and I guess Reddit has definitely a lot of drama with some of the Toontown community.
Yeah, man, I can't even get on Reddit. I'm just like, come on, dude.
So I try not to involve myself in that because it's definitely something where, of course, a professional perspective, and just something where I think I have enough stress going on. I really don't need to get into that sort of thing. But I definitely feel like the community is sort of a hit or miss. It has its really great opportunities, and it's got its pretty bad opportunities. I mean, I remember teams like Team Trap. I remember so many different different parts of I remember when Joey, I think, was even like a kind of like a just like a not like a hacker, but definitely something where he was part of in Toontown Online. There's been so many different adventures in Toontown, good and bad, but I definitely feel like the community has come a long way. And this is like one of the first communities, I will have to say, that has not died, at least yet.
I'm glad you said that.
Come to that. Again, I don't want to say, oh yeah, Toontown's living forever, because all communities eventually die. There is no way you can have just any sort of community forever and ever and ever. There's no such thing. But as far as it definitely has come a long way. I mean, the great example, Corporate Clash. Look at what they did to their entire Toontown game. Cog Invasion. There's been so many great things done to this Toontown community, and I don't want to come off like, oh yeah, the Toontown community is horrible. No. It's come a long way. I've been a part of a lot of communities. Club Penguin. I've been a part of Roblox and Fortnite, and it's just even other just regular private servers, and just even just games like Free Realms and stuff like that, and even Wizard 101. And I feel like Wizard 101's dying, and it's all communities are going to eventually die. You can't really just get around that.
Yes.
I mean, in another 15 to 20 years, do you really think Toontown's going to still be strong?
Nope.
Nobody knows 100%, but I definitely feel like that's really hard to say, because Toontown's been going, it's been going strong for a while, but that doesn't mean that's going to last forever.
And I'm glad that you said that, Toontown is it's not dead yet, but there's a possibility, because when I say that, people are like, oh, this guy's a dick, this and that. But you gotta face the reality, man. I love the game. I still play the game. I'm not saying I want it to die, but
nobody wants it to die, but it's gonna eventually happen.
And that's the thing, man. And that's what I say, man. How many people realistically, you make a Toontown server? How many people realistically do you think have never played Toontown Online, Infinite, any of these other servers are gonna come and pick up any Toontown server, not just TOONIVERSAL, any Toontown server in 2020? Probably like 4 or 5 people. This is just people that have played in the past. Either coming to relive nostalgia, quote unquote nostalgia, and rewritten, or coming to try something new. But for the most part, the community is only going to slowly drop off, and that's why I say, and you don't have to comment on this, because I don't want to put you in the hot seat or nothing, but that's why I say, like, when rewritten, holding off those Panda 3D files, we don't know, potentially there could have been a lot of people, like, if that would have dropped, people see it on YouTube, like, damn, that game looks good, I like the graphics, I might try it out, but a lot of people might get turned off and say, hey, the graphics are shit, because graphics mean a lot to some people. Some people don't matter how good the gameplay is, how good the community, if the graphics are shit, they won't play it. So, that potentially could have, if they had them for 5 years, we could have lost, let's even just say 10 players a month. You could have potentially lost, X amount of players over a 5-year course just from them not wanting to try the game due to graphics. So it's like when the community holds on to stuff, and, I get, rewritten got those files, rightfully so. They don't have to share them with a damn soul. Nobody's asking them to do it. But if in the best judge of the community's interest, like to keep the community strong, to keep it together, if I were to get files, if you were to get files, and it's like, hey, we don't really have no use for these. We don't really plan on using these. Let's give it to another Toontown server. Let's give it to X server or put it somewhere so all these servers have access to it instead of just holding it in our pocket. Because, of course, we can't go on speculations. Everybody's already heard that, they have a lot of shit that they've got from the original Toontown online. And, they haven't done nothing with it. We don't know about that, but we do know about the Panda 3D shit. And we don't know how long they had it. But, stuff like that makes me mad because it's like, it's only tearing the community apart. The community is just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually, everybody's going to be butthurt and be like, damn, we don't have a game anymore. And it's because, motherfucker, the people in charge are the ones that are ruining it to, by not, sharing what they have with other people and being kind of like stingy and like, oh, no, we want to be the #1 server. We're not Toontown. We're Toontown. We're just Toontown now. It's just, to me, it's like you're not making any money from having 5,000 players versus having one player. It's just kind of like an attention thing. That's how I see it. It's like, you could be helping everybody else, but instead you want to just be known as the best and, the most populated Toontown server. So you don't want anybody to try to take that crown. So you're going to do whatever you can to, like, hold off extra resources to help any other channel, any other servers grow. That's how I see it, man.
Well, yeah. See, the thing about it is, going a little bit before that, the whole community thing, TTR has maybe, 5,000 players at the most, and you have to figure there's billions of people in the world.
Yep.
There's so many players, so when you really think about 5,000, if we just play Toontown, yeah, that's a lot, but if you're going to Fortnite or Roblox, pretty much any of these others, you're like, that's nothing, 5,000. And I've seen people play Toontown Rewritten for the first time and like, this game only has 5,000 from such a number of a community to like a private server, which again, I'm not saying that's horrible. That's still a pretty good chunk. But you have your, it's just when it eventually goes down and go down and go down, there's less just whole sort of things. And the greatest example as far as like the whole like the whole like textures and whatnot is. Greatest example towards that is when Loopy posted the whole Toontown 2.0 prototype. People went nuts for like, oh my god, this is something actually Toontown was actually going to make. And when he posted that, he kind of shared that, and he had to ask permission, of course, for those things, and he did. And oh my god, people were making videos. People were even trying into a realistic project. I can even confirm it right now. There's still people trying to make that into a Toontown game. And if it wasn't for and actually getting those files happening, you wouldn't be having any videos, you wouldn't be having so much excitement, you would even have other people coming in saying, wow, I can't believe Disney was actually making a thing like that. So I get where you're coming from, where hitting that stuff, because when you give it out there now, because somebody I guess leaked it, now there's so many people, so many like us, for example, Corporate Clash and Offline, everybody's coming together now to make those textures actually come to life. It's a big sort of project.
And that's what's best for the community. You guys are working together, not like, oh, we're gonna get this out before this server so we can, and that's what's best for the community. And I always say, the Toontown community isn't growing. It's really just people hopping from this server to not playing this server to going back to this. It's really not nobody joining the game. Like, it's just people switching between servers. Like, people will love this server one week, and then, the next week it's like, damn, I don't play that game no more. Fuck that game. And then they're on the next server. That's what I'm saying. Like, the community is a lot smaller than we think, because all these numbers, 5,000 are rewritten, this and that. Even 5% of that rewritten community could be on Corporate Clash, and that's where Corporate Clash gets their numbers, and then vice versa. You know what I'm saying? All these numbers, they're not really. I don't know, man. I just feel like the community itself is just gonna end up, just burning itself out from the inside rather than the players leaving. It's gonna be from, drama with the inside.
Feel that, because you had Toontown Online, which I think had a lot more players than just 5,000, and then online closed, a lot of people did not go to TTR. They kind of just gave up because they worked so hard on that game, and then you have a private server come out, and they're like, oh, well, I don't know if I really want to start over. And then you had Corporate Clash come out. They had like, oh, well, I guess it was technically Altas first, but they had like what, like 1,000 to 1,500 people. Over time, it died down. Same thing with Corporate Clash. When they first came out, I think they had like 1,000 or a little over that. Then it died down. Now it's only 100, 400. Same thing with even TOONIVERSAL, 50 and then down. But kind of going back up because of COVID and just TTRs being DDoSed and all that sort of stuff. But word to close, you're not going to Corporate Clash TOONIVERSAL. We're not going to get as nearly as much as TTR. It's just like when TOONTOWN Online closed, TTR wasn't going to get as nearly as much as what TOONTOWN Online. And when TTR closes, it's going to be the same scenario. People aren't going to either know it's different, or people are going to die and they're like, all right, well, it's time to move on. And you're going to have a good chunk of that. It's not going to be a few. So you're not going to close as people are like, oh my God, well, TOONIVERSAL and Corporate Clash are going to be so popular that no, it's when TOONTOWN Online closed TTR wasn't, I mean, yeah, it's pretty popular, but it's definitely not as popular as what TOONTOWN was.
Well, the last 2 years. Go ahead. My bad. Well, the last 2 years of online, I think, what was it, at like 900 average daily? So that's, of course, more. But that's not the peak of their number. Their peak of their numbers was, what, like a 1 million players? I think 2008. I was watching videos like 2008, 2007 was the peak. It had like 1 million active users on the game or some shit, which is crazy to think of.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Which is crazy to think of.
You see tunes everywhere, yeah.
And see, the thing, and then what doesn't make sense to me is, like I said, again, you don't have to comment on this. I don't want to put you in the hot seat, but somebody was telling me in my Discord earlier, like 2 days ago, they're like, yeah, Rewritten has on their website that they hit like 2 million registered users. I'm like, no way in hell. They sent the screenshot. I'm like, bro, I don't know the numbers, of course, behind the scenes, but I highly, highly doubt 2 million registered people in that matter. I don't know. That just doesn't seem real to me.
Yeah, it definitely could be. It's really not hard to HTML code. But of course, you have to also figure, I mean, there's still probably a lot of people from TOONTOWN that don't even know about TTR. There's definitely a good chunk of that as well, which you made up kind of brought up a good point that I was going to mention. I've even talked to some of my friends that played TOONTOWN Online, and when I mentioned TTR, they're like, what's TTR? Like, there's definitely a good chunk of people out there that didn't even know TOONTOWN Rewritten, and still today don't even know they're a thing. So there's definitely a good chunk of the community that don't even know about it, and there's a good chunk that do, and they just don't play it anymore because you max on a game and they're just like, well, what else is there to do? And some people are kind of skeptical of other servers because of the amount of like things that some servers did. There's some servers that had keyloggers. There's some servers that have malware and viruses, and it's a lot of risk to install a program on your computer nowadays.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot of concern for people. And then, of course, another thing is crashing. When you crash so often, it ticks people off, even though it's bad. Yeah, but if you crash so much, it's unstable in a lot of people's perspective.
Yeah, I get pissed because I always fucking crash in Corporate Clash.
Yeah. It's definitely something where, I mean, I'd love to see this community go for the longest time, but you can only go so much with something, and you just, you can throw all the things that you want. You can give every single feature that people want. It's still not going to last forever. It's really unfortunate, but you can't. It's just Wizard 101 has been around for so long, and I used to remember so many times. And now, whenever I usually go on it once in a blue moon, there's not that nearly as many people as what it used to be, and that's a physical game itself, and it's just it is what it is. Every community eventually dies, no matter how much new content add to it. It's just sometimes people, or there's so many different. But this will always have probably a good, maybe amount, but you're not going to have nearly as much as what you're used to. Just like when, TTR first came out, I think it had like, my God, when it first came out of like, it's so like where everybody could start going on, it had good amount, and then over time it died down. Same thing with Corporate Clash, same thing with TOONIVERSAL, same thing with TOONTOWN Infinite. For a lot of you that probably remember that game, I even played it, and it was just it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Do you see the Toontown? Do you see any of these Toontown servers lasting another 10 years plus? Not 10 years from when they came out. 10 years from now, 2030. Do you see any of these Toontown servers still being alive, in your honest opinion, or not necessarily live, but open? Not open source, but open for the general public.
I hope. I really, really hope. But see, it's so hard to say because the way things are going is just another thing to consider. 10 years of cost. That's another thing to consider. 10 years of cost, and let's say you're paying like even $100 a month. That's like what, $1,200 a year. And keep in mind, you're not getting anything back in return, not a dime.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to make profit.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me that, like, when I think about that stuff, like, damn, these people are really, and that's why, and people might take offense. You might even take offense because you're a game creator, but from my perspective as a fan, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like when I played Relived, and I see that there's like 5, 6 active users every day, and then ODS is like 20 and stuff, and it's like you might be want to keep it for those 6 fans, those 20 fans that love the game. You're like, yeah, I want to let them play. I don't want to just take it away from them. But then you got to think like damn, I'm spending money, this X amount of money a month. I only have 20 people enjoying it. It's like, damn, is it even worth the trouble? And I think Relived realized that, and they're like, we only have 4 or 5 players online. We're kind of just throwing money away, essentially throwing it away anyway by making a server. But if nobody is enjoying it, it's not really, it doesn't really become worth it in my eyes.
Right. It's almost like you're taking your friends out to eat and you're paying for it every single time.
Yep.
And it's just it can't just work like that all the time because eventually that other person's got to come forward and pay. And in Toontown, it's just nobody can make any profit off the game. So $1,200 a year, let's just say, of course this could be lower, this could be higher, but let's just say, like in a ballpark range, $1,200 a year, 10 years, you're looking at over $10,000. That's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, it's a lot of money to throw out for no profit.
Exactly.
Because I know you're real entrepreneur-y, yeah, you just don't. That's basically, it's not like you're investing it. It's you're basically throwing it away because you get no return.
Yeah, it's literally like me giving money out to just random people. I mean, it's not even really just that because technically, I can do giveaways and everything, and I think that would just be a little bit more incentive than paying for just people to play. And I get where you're coming from, 100%. I'm not making any profit, and there's people that literally come to me from a business sort of thing. They're like, why are you doing this? You're making literally no money. And it's just a situation where, maybe I'm not making any money on it, but it's making a lot of people happy. It's showing that Toontown servers can bring great content to just anywhere. And I'm not saying, hey, TOONIVERSAL's the best content, that hands down. I'm just saying, the features that, you could put in a server is possible. And of course, later down the road, if you have a server that's only getting maybe 20 players at a time, you really need to consider either downgrading your servers or just getting rid of them, because you can't be, unless you're a billionaire and you just don't mind throwing that money every month. It's just, you really have to figure, with everything going on, can you really, be affording that? That's definitely a huge cost, because like I said before, that's like you going out to dinner and paying for your friends every single day. And that just, you don't really see that.
And the thing about that just blows my mind, is, Rewritten's, one of the oldest standing servers, of the fan-made servers, it's been around, when did it come out, 2013, 2014?
Yeah, a good amount of years.
So 6-7 years now. So they've been paying, and they have the most populated server, and they always have. So I'm guessing they would have to pay, more money than, Toontown Relived would to keep their servers open and keep their, as you were saying, the bandwidth and everything. So I imagine that's pretty expensive. And then to think that, they really just, I guess it's not a waste. I see it as a waste in my eyes. But with the ToonFest shit, it's like, damn, they're buying and manufacturing shirts, hats, renting out a building, this and that. And I'm just like, damn, that's so, it's such a waste of money. And it sounds like a dick, like, oh, we're doing it for the community to have fun and stuff. But it's like, if they want to put, and I say this all the time, man, if there wasn't so much time put into other stuff besides the game, then you could possibly see a lot more features added to a game. Because you got to think about how much time you got to spend on getting all that stuff prep ready, getting what are we going to talk about, what are we going to do this, get the hats, get this, different shirts. So that makes me think, like, damn, that's a lot of potential money going to waste every month. And I guess I see it from a business standpoint. I don't see it as a fan. I see it as like, damn, this guy's throwing out X amount of money for a ToonFest, X amount of money for this, X amount of money for that. And it just makes me curious, like, damn, I don't feel like, I don't know, man. It's just crazy to me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's definitely people that even say, hey, your server's trash, or like the actual, like, server, like, not like the actual Toontown, like, just content. I'm saying, like, the actual game server, like, oh, yeah, I keep crashing in TTR. I get, where people are coming from, but you also have to consider TTR is paying everything out of their pocket. They're paying for the game server. They're paying for everything. So when you're going on there and saying, oh, yeah, their game server's trash and everything, you have to also consider the fact, yeah, maybe they could have used some improvement on their servers, but they're doing this out of their own will, their own pocket, and if they really want to, they could say, hey, we're not paying for you anymore, so goodbye. And it's just, you gotta really consider the both sides here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they could use some maybe work on their server. Argue that, but they're not getting a dime out of this. So just like us, when we're not getting a dime out of this, but we definitely want to take more caution. But it's one of those situations where I definitely get where you're coming from, but it's just, I know a lot of people are definitely have mixed things about it. And a lot of people have to understand, maybe they're not in the development area, maybe they're not in the creative, and maybe they're just looking at, oh yeah, here's Toontown, and I'm playing it, and I'm crashing, or I'm lagging, and it's just like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. And I mean, unless you're paying for a membership, unless these people are paying for a membership and that's happening, well, you can only do so much with arguing about their server, because again, you're playing for free. So
that is true. One last question. I know I said this earlier. I know you got to go. My bad. We went a little over the time limit we set, but one last question. I always wondered, since you are technically, owner of a server, can you monetize the videos you post on Toontown? Like, does that have any effect? Or I always wondered that. Like, when you stream and stuff, can you accept donations? Is that like frowned upon? Like, I always wondered that.
What are you talking about, for like the actual TOONIVERSAL account, or are you talking about my personal like Broadway Pixels channel?
So like, well, either or. So like, if you were to, if you were to just be streaming, playing, it could, like, would they say like, oh, you can't be monetizing if you own the game or something like that?
If it was TOONIVERSAL, like the actual TOONIVERSAL YouTube or the TOONIVERSAL Twitch, I'll be honest, I'm not an attorney, so I couldn't tell you. But I would say probably no. But if I'm doing this on Broadway Pixels, which, streaming and YouTubing and stuff like that, and I want to, record TOONIVERSAL or stream TOONIVERSAL, and somebody throws bits down, somebody throws a donation down, I don't see a whole huge issue with it, because it's not like, that money is like, hey, you're donating towards TOONIVERSAL, you're donating towards that project, you're donating towards me, which does non-profit and profitable projects, and then I stream other games and I record other games. So I think it's sort of a situation where if I was just using the TOONIVERSAL account and I was streaming TOONIVERSAL when I was accepting donations. I think that would be probably a no situation. Again, I'm not an attorney, so I couldn't say 100%, but I would probably guess on the more side, no. But if I was like recording YouTube or if I was streaming different things and whatnot, and I don't think it's a huge issue for accepting donations, especially if you're streaming other games, just not just TOONIVERSAL. And even if I just wanted to stream only TOONIVERSAL, it's going directly towards me. It's not going directly towards the project, if that makes sense. So, I mean, on stream right now, I guess I make money off stream. On YouTube, I don't, because their monetization is... I don't want to go into too detail. I'm just not a fan of it. But again, you know, it's definitely a situation where, yeah, I made money in the past on my YouTube channel when it wasn't, you know, monetization wasn't so bad. And yeah, I made money on Twitch, but it's not like, hey, that money is going towards TOONIVERSAL, because that wouldn't be such a good scenario.
That makes sense. Well, that is all the time we have, man. I want to go ahead and say thank you for taking an hour and 9 minutes of your time and, you know, sitting down with me for my first podcast. I truly do appreciate it, man. Is there anything else you have left to say?
I don't think so, no. I mean, again, it's been a great time here. I thank you for taking the time as well. You're a great YouTuber. I will say that right now. I definitely appreciate all your content. You definitely give, you know, the honest truth about things, and it's not like you sugarcoat them. So definitely keep up the great work with your YouTube channel.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe.